there seems to be no let-up in the number of COVID cases that are being reported from across the country. The steady spike has put India's medical infrastructure under immense strain, starting right from the testing apparatus. And today, the ICMR, which is the Indian Council for Medical Research, has put out a new SOP for testing. To ease the burden of testing, India's premier medical body has issued a fresh advisory revising the SOPs for RT-PCR tests across the country. It has made several recommendations for optimizing these tests as number of cases are seeing a steady rise. The first recommendation by the ICMR is that symptomatic individuals identified positive by the rapid action antigen test should not be retested and advised to go through the home-based care as per the ICMR guidelines. Number two, it is also said that no RT-PCR testing is required for COVID-19 patients who have recovered before they leave the premises of the hospital in accordance with the discharge policy of Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. ICMR has also advised to do away with the need for RT-PCR tests in healthy individuals who are undertaking interstate domestic travel. And it has also suggested that any traveler who has even the slightest symptom, a little bit of a cold, a little bit of a cough, well, even 2 masks do not make it safe for you to travel. You will infect other people. So just don't travel. Stay indoors if you have any hint of a symptom. The ICMR has also claimed that mobile testing labs will now be available on the GEM portal of the government and has encouraged states to augment RT-PCR testing through these mobile systems, because these mobile systems will reduce the pressure of people gathering at testing labs and also reduce the pressure on the testing labs themselves. That is the big change in testing norms that has been announced by the ICMR today. We'll have to wait and watch what the impact of this is going to be in terms of detecting the numbers of those impacted and infected by COVID-19. Going across to our big story tonight, a fresh controversy has erupted over the foreign aid received by the government of India in its fight against COVID. In fact, the opposition has not only alleged that crucial equipment and relief material is either struck at ports or have been diverted to BJP-ruled states, but Times Now's internal security editor Nikunj Garg has accessed the files relating to the government's distribution of this material received from overseas in the form of aid. Let's first take a look at the numbers. Oxygen concentrators. This shows that the relief material has its own distribution strategy. 53% of the oxygen generators have been given to opposition ruled states and only 47% of them have gone to BJP ruled states. Let's take a look, number 2, at the oxygen cylinders. Here again you will see the distribution has been with the numbers that tell the story rather fair. 55% of the allotments have gone to the opposition ruled states and only 45% going to the NDA ruled states. It gets better in the case of ventilators. A whopping 67% of allotments have gone to opposition ruled states, and these ventilators are in the region of about 2,500, 67% going straight to opposition ruled states. And this really is based on the fact that states with greater caseloads have got these equipments. And in Delhi, taking the maximum number of ventilators, considering this situation of the number of infected cases in Delhi is pretty high. So that's the number coming up for Delhi. Out of the 1,042, 700 go just to Delhi. life-saving drug remdesivir has gone in large quantities to Maharashtra, and that really takes the count in terms of the top 5 states. It is the states with the maximum case loads. 2 states happen to be BJP ruled in the top 5, while the other 3 are opposition ruled, and 56% goes to these 5 top infected states. PPE kits, the story remains the same from Delhi to Maharashtra. These are the places that have got the maximum number of PPE kits. And once again, if you look at the distribution, the NDA ruled states get only 37%, 63% really goes to the opposition ruled states. Joining me live on this broadcast is Nikunj Garg. And Nikunj, with these statistics, and these are not statistics that have been made in the Times Now backroom, these are statistics from the government distribution file, and they tell a story that the distribution of this material has been rather fair based on the case loads state-wise.
Well, absolutely, Navika. And now that we put out in public domain how much each state has received, how much each institution has received from critical medical equipments like ventilators to the normal medical consumables like PPE kits, people should go and do the research whether those states, whether those recipients have actually received the same quantity or not, and then challenge the government. That is the whole business of playing the roles of checks and balances to a government, based only on the basis of the fact that the government has not come out with a statement and besmirching or trying to besmirch at least the reputation of the government in the foreign capital based on something that you think is the reality is absolutely shameful. As I've been saying, I am usually a skeptic. Taught by years of my training in the profession, I usually do not believe the governments very, very easily. But in this case, Navika, their data is extremely exhaustive. It does not only list the institutions or the countries that have supplied. So you can ask the Uzbekistan embassy for that matter, or Ireland embassy for that matter, have you supplied this much of material, or have you supplied more or less? So, the source of aid is clear. The amount of aid is clear. The disbursal of aid is absolutely crystal clear. Now, on the basis of this, go ahead and challenge the government. You are more than welcome. I'm sure a scrutiny in all democratic systems is required and people must do it. But before having enough empirical evidence on your hands to start asking questions of your own government, and that too questions that are amplified in foreign capitals, is extremely unfortunate. What I will never be happy about, or what I should never be tolerating, is besmirching the reputation of my country. Forget about my government, my country in any third country. And that is the problem here. I mean, look at this, Navika.
Very well said. Very well said, Nikunj, because it is the reputation of the country, not just the government, is the reputation of every single Indian which is at stake. And clearly, this fact can be checked, cross-checked and scrutinized before allegations are made. Thank you, Nikunj, for bringing us this very exclusive story right here, because numbers don't lie, and therefore the legitimate question on the news tonight is the opposition's charge on favoritism falling flat? That's the question and the debate. Coming up on the other side.
You're watching the News Hour at 9. Debate number 1 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
And joining me tonight, Dr. Sambit Patra, national spokesperson of the BJP, Dr. Anand Ranganathan, author and scientist. Also joining me tonight, Ghanshyam Tiwari, spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party, Dr. Sumant C. Raman, political analyst, and Riju Datta, Trinamool Congress spokesperson. And Riju Datta, my first question is that this is a fight against a pandemic. And in this pandemic, you can have a position that were we prepared, should we have been better prepared? The answer to all of those questions are subjective, and those questions are that yes, we could have been better prepared. Could we have increased the infrastructure overnight? Well, if there was a magic wand, yes. Could we have anticipated the problems? Of course, yes. We didn't do all of that. I agree and I understand, and I think most of the Indian population does agree with the fact that we've been taken by surprise, and the numbers of the COVID infected people is just growing too fast than we ever imagined. Having said that, now we have statistics, and these are the statistics of foreign aid, which has been in recent times the biggest criticism against the government, that either they are not being cleared at the ports, at customs, or they are being given to BJP ruled states. And the numbers don't bear this out. Is this pure COVID politics? Because it seems to be falling flat.
See, Navika, in this fight against the pandemic, foreign aid is not the issue. The problem is, let the foreign aid come, it is for all humanity, for all the citizens of this country. But from the foreign aid reaching our shores to developing an SOP, it takes around 5 to 7 days. And in that time, a lot of people, lakhs of people are dying without oxygen, without everything. But rather than this foreign aid, I have some other boats to pick when we talk about statistics. In Bengal, we have 83,000 COVID beds. In Gujarat, there is 22,000 COVID beds. 136,000 remdesivir has gone to Gujarat. For Bengal, only 32,000 remdesivir. Again, now for our oxygen, we had this debate before. We have sent our extra oxygen to Delhi to help them. But in our quota, we have to look at, our government has to look for our people also. But our quota was also diverted from states at the behest of the government of India to other states, namely Uttar Pradesh. Now, these are things. Now, again, one more important point in this is the vaccine. Now, you have got the virus
vaccine in this country.
What?
Now you're asking the states to buy. When we wanted to buy, you denied us on 24th February. Now you're giving 3 different rates, 130, 400, 300, 700, 1200 to private hospitals. Why this duplicity? Have a national immunization policy. We have done it during the polio crisis, and we have come out successful. Let's all fight together. This duplicate game won't work. Let the central government be transparent. The state governments will be transparent. That is my question to the central government. Why
is the central? Let me, Riju Datta says the issue is not only about some of these things on foreign. I'm coming to you, Dr. Anand Ranganathan and Dr. Sambit Patra. But I want to ask you, who are these people and which parties do they belong to? Mr. Pawan Khera, who says India has received aid from 40 countries over the past 1 week. Where is this relief material going? Center is busy with media management and headline management, and there is shortage of various essential drugs and oxygen. Again, Congress on Twitter says foreign aid, NDA is sitting over it for 7 days. Asaduddin Owaisi says the same thing. Prashant Bhushan, who's a lawyer, says the same thing. I want to ask you, Dr. Anand Ranganathan, are facts being made rather economical here? Because, everybody needs remdesivir and there is just not enough. So who should get it first? Bengal, which doesn't have as heavy caseload, or Maharashtra, which has the heaviest caseload in this country, followed by Karnataka?
No, good evening, Navika. I think it is a matter of compounded shame that we've reached a stage where the government, to every citizen's embarrassment, has to state the facts along the lines of NDA and non-NDA government. And this is a real bad remark on the opposition, that, it is possibly accusing the government of maybe, sidetracking the aid that it is getting, foreign aid, towards NDA states, when clearly that is not the case. But even the fact that the government has to clarify along those lines is embarrassing. What's next? Maybe after a week, they're going to say how many percentage of ventilators went to Muslims, how many percentage of ventilators went to oxygen cylinders, went to Hindus. Is that what we have become? This is a national calamity. And the facts prove, I'm so glad you've given the facts show that all those hotspots and the states, including Delhi and Maharashtra, that require urgently, on an urgent basis, all these medicines and equipment, have been given their more than fair share. But can I please correct my good friend Riju Da, who's a scientist, who said that Gujarat has only 23,000 beds. Right now, I'm opening Indian Express report in front of me that says Gujarat has 1.05 lakh beds. in 10,320 community COVID centers. So, Rijuda, please get your facts right. But, Navika, can I please come back to this issue? Because I think that's very important. You see, opposition has a very constructive role to play. And right now, there are so many things that the government is not doing right. So many. I mean, I don't have even time to count. Just two of those. One, the vaccination speed and the drive. And number two, the oxygen allocation. And I've been saying repeatedly that the states must be given free hand to ask for oxygen from wherever they want. And the state is not allowing that. The point is the state has a committee, and the committee is not formed of 29 representatives from the 29 states or 7 union territories. So obviously there is a lag time, and the state is acting as a middleman. Right now, the High Court today has blasted the center by saying that if you cannot take care of the oxygen supply of Delhi, where the demand is 900 odd metric tons and you're supplying only 490, then let other people from IIMs or IITs come and do this. So the point is there are so many things to criticize the center on, but let us not criticize it on something that the data proves completely otherwise, and the center is not responsible for that at all.
Navika ji, can I come in because Dr.
Very well said, Dr. Anand Ranganathan. That is, yes, that is a very, very important point made by Dr. Anand Ranganathan, that let's look at this logically. Is the center doing everything perfectly? Certainly not. Are state governments doing everything perfectly? Certainly not. The kind of population pressure, the kind of pressure of COVID-infected persons is high, whether at a state level or at a center level, challenging our infrastructure. But Dr. Sumansi Raman, I want to ask you, is the blame game going to sort out the situation, or is it going to be constructive working together? Why don't we raise issues or come up with solutions which can actually help people, rather than question ki bhai foreign aid jo hai that you are giving to NDA rules to? I want to only ask one thing. Does the government at the center, does Narendra Modi have to do an Agni Pariksha every single day, thrice a day, to prove that he is working for every single Indian? Why do we question and suspect everything that he does?
All he has to do is resign.
First of all, the issue of whether this foreign aid went to NDA states or non-NDA states, to me, is a much smaller problem, as long as it actually reached them. The whole problem is that, I don't know whether you have seen the media report in the scroll, which actually spoke to, which quoted additional secretary, health secretaries in states and so on, confirming that they are yet to receive the shipment, and they've only received communication on the evening of the 3rd. So the point is, much of this aid started coming in from the 25th of April. Certainly from 28th, there was a steady flow of relief material which was coming in. Now, until the 3rd of May, these had not left the warehouses in Delhi airport. Now, you tell me, is that fair? Apparently, they were waiting for customs clearance. There was one media report which quoted that the value of the consignment was not specified, and therefore that was holding up the clearance. Then there was a quote of somebody saying we are having teething problems, whatever that may mean. You tell me, is it fair? Oxygen concentrators which may have arrived on 28th of
Absolutely
April,
not.
Nothing
is fair. Nothing is fair. Any minute lost. I agree with you, Dr. Sumansi Raman. Every minute lost is possibly several lives that are lost. And I agree with you that there is a need for speeding up everything. But why must we even question? And you say, this is a smaller problem. Okay, this is a smaller problem. Then why does Pawan Kheda raise it as if, the NDA rule states?
Navika, you answer. Dr. Patra.
Dr. Patra, respond. That's a valid question, and respond to that question, Dr. Patra.
Materials
Only if he allows me to.
Until the 3rd of May.
Thank you. See,
All
Navika,
right, responding, Dr. Patra.
Navika, I'm extremely sorry. We really have taken a nasty turn as far as this debate is concerned. I mean, how much has gone to the NDA ruled states and how much has gone to the UPA and the opposition ruled states? This cannot go any worse, I believe. And let me tell you, there has been a consistent effort by a section in the opposition to malign every kind of information, to construe that as misinformation, to spread canards, and to see to it some amount of fear-mongering does take place, some amount of politicization does take place. I want to over here, in fact, keep everything in perspective. As far as the arrival of foreign aid, etc., is concerned, They arrived for the first time on April of 25th, and there is empirical data available. Everything is on record as to how they were distributed within the 7 days, till 2nd of May. And let me tell you, even the PIB record sets it right. 24 different categories of items, numbering approximately 40 lakhs, distributed to 86 institutions of different states of the country. And there is, in fact, a standard operating procedure regarding the equitable distribution of all these items, depending on the load on the tertiary healthcare center. Remember, the tertiary healthcare center of any state has a required amount of load. The first preference would be given to that state, rightly pointed out by you, Navika, that in case of the injection vials of remdesivir, approximately 1,27,199 vials were received, of which a huge cachet of 25,947, almost 26,000, went alone to Maharashtra, followed by Karnataka of 15,500 odd vials. So everything is distributed with a standard operating procedure. Secondly, and most important thing that the government of India, in fact, follows is the Indian custom rules, in which I would like to state over here that this whole process is to expedite anything that is COVID-related. Any instrument, any foreign aid that comes and is COVID-related, the process is expedited, and the rule that is followed is unpack, repack, dispatch within no time. Unpack, repack, dispatch within no time. Allocation, approval, and dispatch is in a standard way for every state. For God's sake, let's not politicize this and turn this whole thing into nasty politics.
Dr. Patra, there's a very simple way to solve it. If you could just put out the list of the aid items with the date of dispatch to the various states.
Have you gone to the PIB?
When was it dispatched, Dr. Patra? The problem is not...
Have you gone to the PIB note? If it will take some time if I start reading these notes.
The PIB note does not specify that these dispatches were made commencing from April the 25th onwards.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you.
And by the way, that 86 institutions is apparently down to 38 now.
So you have a doubt. I cannot, in fact, solve the problem of the ones who are permanently in doubt, perpetually in doubt, you know. As far as Mr. Rahul Gandhi and the followers of Rahul Gandhi are concerned, they have sponsored... Just a second. Let me answer you. They have sponsored articles in newspapers. I'm sorry, only a couple of days ago, they said that the central government had not placed any kind of vaccine orders, you know. And in fact, there was whole amount of maligning against us.
This is a farcical argument, Dr. Sumansi Raman, on one ground. That if there are plane loads, 1 minute, if there are plane loads of material coming, if there are 2,500 concentrators coming and they have to go to different states, that there will have to be an activity in separating them, in opening the big boxes, putting smaller boxes. It will require time, sir.
Simple English. How many days?
Well, all right. Supply the details. Supply the details of that as well. Supply the details of that very well. And if you think, no. The question I'm asking, and Ghanshyam Tiwari, that is the question I want to ask you. You know, how many days did it take? Did Prime Minister Narendra Modi sit in the airport, wait for the cargo plane? Did he decide sitting there that ye mere wale states ko jayega, ye unke wale state? You know, does it happen like that, Ghanshyam Tiwari? Let's all be mature individuals, mature adults, and mature political analysts and politicians like yourself. Let's just look at it that when this aid comes, it's coming from a foreign country. There is a sanitization process, there is a checking process, and following that, the distribution process. Now to say, you know, shift the goalpost. पहले कह रहे थे देते नहीं हैं, अपने states को देते हैं, अब कहते हैं कि देर लगाते हैं. कमाल है. Everything is a problem.
Navika ji, when the government has looked the other way and the Prime Minister and Amit Shah has led the nation into this crisis, in doomsday scenario by focusing on Bengal, Mahakumbh, etc., this is a very small matter in comparison to what they have already done to put a disaster at the center stage of this country. But as far as this matter is concerned, even Dr. Patra, in his own response, missed saying that it took 7 days to form the SOP. The health ministry response says that the 40 lakh items that Dr. Patra spoke about went mostly to central government institutions, 31 states and union governments. This is the health ministry report. I was not interrupting anybody.
No, I was just correcting you, sir.
What you are saying, Dr. Patra says you are misquoting him. Dr. Patra says you are misquoting him, so I'll give him the opportunity to correct you. 1 minute, Dr. Patra, did you say it takes 7 days to make the SOPs? Did you say that?
Of course not.
Both of you did not hear. Within 7 days, the mic did not hear. I said Dr. Patra did not mention that it took 7 days to frame the SOP. That is what I said.
He was formed in 7 days.
Why is it so important to defend Mr. Modi all the time when the nation is facing a doomsday scenario?
I'm not defending anyone. I'm speaking of the truth. That's it.
No, you speak out the truth, but look at the health ministry response.
But please
How many days did it take to frame the SOP? But that's not the point. I have a very simple request to make. You can save Prime Minister's image day in, day out. That is your job. But my simple request is, please make a team that lists down all the rural districts, especially in the country, that lists down the top 10 to 20 private and public health infrastructure in those districts, and ensures on a daily basis that those districts, those health infrastructure has a daily supply line. And
Ghanshyam Tiwari has a lot of advice to give, but all he does is debate. Anand Ranganathan, Ghanshyam Tiwari is a great administrator. Shouldn't he be helping the government in following the SOPs which he is relating on television? I'm sure constructive suggestions are welcome.
My question, if I may please direct it to the COVID warriors, Dr. Patra and Dr. Sumant Raman, because they are both medical doctors. And believe me, my first question is to Dr. Sumant Raman. And I trust his judgment. I really do. He's working for India. He's a doctor. So whatever answer he gives to my question, I'm going to accept it. So here is the question, Dr. Raman. You know that the international aid has arrived through many routes, through air, through ship, maybe by road or by train, I don't know, neighboring countries. Okay, it has to be taken to a single center. It has to be distributed amongst 100-odd institutions concerning about their needs. So I ask you this straight up. According to you, not according to the government or Dr. Patra, according to you, how many days should that process take? That's a simple question.
Okay. Let me explain it very simply. Today, an aircraft is coming in carrying a particular cargo. We know what is in it because we have been informed in advance that 100 oxygen concentrators are coming, 300 oxygen cylinders are coming, or whatever. Now we know this in advance. So the team prepares in advance, gets inputs from the local state government where the crisis is existing. The moment the aircraft lands, this material is unloaded. It should reach, an oxygen concentrator can potentially reach a patient in 8 hours after the aircraft lands. And that is how it has to be
Dr.
done.
Dr. Sumant C. Raman is talking as if he's been part of a system that does this in 8 hours. Well, there are security concerns. You don't allow people to reach the airport, the tarmac, and take all the material and run to their states. Well, 8 hours, Dr. Patra, can it be done in 8 hours? In 8 hours, can you do it, Dr. Patra?
Let me. In fact, I can understand the good intentions of Dr. Sumant C. Raman. Of course, he is talking whatever he is with good intentions. But let me go into the practicality of it. And if you would read the PIB note of the government today, everything is mentioned as to how it functions. It functions under a cell, which is headed by certain joint secretaries under the Ministry of Health Affairs and Health and Family Affairs, and all of them are expert in their domain. And remember, there is a process. Once it touches the Indian land, Indian soil, there is a custom check because security is an issue. Of course, the custom check, as I said previously, is expedited. Thereafter, it's not always that the numbers match as they have mentioned in the note. Sometimes they say we are sending you 100 concentrators, but there are certain other items and not concentrators. So you need to, in fact, pack and repack. You have to unpack and repack because you need to confirm that what you are sending to the states are exactly what they are stated to be, number one. Number two, and most importantly, the government record mentions that supposedly there are 50 instruments only. They cannot distribute these 50 items or say 50 oxygen concentrators to every state. You take two, you take two, you take two, you take two. No. this thin distribution is not going to help any state. That's why, while dispatching, they will see to it that which state would be the most required state depending on the number of cases which are turned up in the tertiary centers, because tertiary centers are the one which would require the high-end apparatus, and then they would dispatch it. As I said,
and may I come in? A proper stock taking is necessary because many of these materials then go back to international organizations like the Red Cross. So a proper ledger entry has to be maintained, because what you receive, you must also send back once the emergency in your country is over, and maybe there are other needy countries. Well, it's very easy to be an armchair strategist, logistics manager. The question is, I again come back to one point, Dr. Sumansi Raman, do not interrupt me. The one point is, can we do better? Yes, certainly we can do better. But should everything done by the government be a matter of suspicion and COVID politics for the opposition? Certainly not. Ladies and gentlemen, people of India are sick of this blame game. What they need is all political parties, all administrators to come together to get them out of their miseries, to help them save lives, and lives of their family members, lives of their loved ones. What it doesn't really want is point scoring, because there's going to be a lifetime to do that if you stay alive in the first place. Thank you very much to my panelists for joining me on debate number 1. Debate number 2, the Bengal violence, coming up on the other side.
The News Hour at 9 will be right back after the break.